I'm Reuben Ruxton and I'm the Heritage Council funded intern, currently working at the Hugh Lane Gallery, working on a project in collaboration with the National Gallery of Ireland on this work by assemblage artists Edward and Nancy Kienholz. The artwork is based on a real-life child called Tank in Texas, and this is a depiction of part of her house. It's sort of intentionally a bit dirty, a sink full of dirty dishes, and there's quite a thick layer of dust on top of it, and we kind of want to establish how much of that is intentional and supposed to be part of the illustration of this person's life, and how much we should be removing because it's kind of accrued since then.
I'm Natalia. I'm the conservation research scientist at the National Gallery of Ireland, and I'm currently collaborating with the Hugh Lane Gallery on this project. One of the first stages in conservation is to characterize the materials that constitute the artwork, so we can kind of gather an understanding of what the artists use, and especially in such complex cases where we have so many different materials layered one on top of the other and associated together, we really need to know what the conservators will be dealing with. We use kind of like a multi-analytical approach, non-invasive and invasive analysis. So we're going to start with non-invasive. So microscopy is one of the many non-invasive techniques we can use, and then we will do a survey with X-ray fluorescence that will give us information on the elements in the artwork. X-ray fluorescence is a non-invasive technique that shines an X-ray on our artworks in this case and collects the information that comes back from the artwork. So by using different kinds of spectroscopy techniques, we can study the different fingerprints of each element, like metals, for instance, that were commonly used in pigments and paints. And then we will focus more on the molecular information, so how the elements are combined together. And for that, we will use the FTIR, which stands for Fourier Transform Infrared Spectroscopy. So it's a different kind of spectroscopy that shines a different light. In this case, it's an infrared light. And then sort of like our ultimate resort is to sample the artwork, which is generally something we like to avoid because, of course, we don't want to damage the artwork, but it's generally actually needed in conservation science and in conservation. And Reuben will take microsamples from the artwork, and it's really important for us to be mapping where the samples were taken and will be taken in this case. So we will be able to document everything for the future, and in case we want to run future analysis, it's really important to know where we took the samples and how they were taken and by whom, of course.
I think a lot of people consider that conservation to be something that's carried out on much older things that have had a long time to get yellow and covered in things, but really a lot of contemporary artworks have conservation issues because they're often made with unconventional materials that aren't designed for artists to use. So there's not kind of longevity in mind in a mac and cheese box. It's an easel painting, but it's three-dimensional and like kind of traditional works. And because it's unconventional materials, they age in kind of an unconventional way. So you have to really consider it in a kind of case-by-case way. You can't just say this is how you conserve a contemporary artwork.
We'll get information on the materials, and that can help us in case there is a corrosion happening. Corrosion degradation of the metals, or it will tell us information on the pigments that were used in the paint layer, and that can help us also sort of studying the way these artworks were realized. This will also guide the conservator in order to find the right storage condition and the right exhibition condition for this artwork.
So the long-term goal with this is to clean up this artwork a bit and carry out a conservation treatment, but this portion of the work is 6 months just doing the research element of the project, which entails everything from finding artist interviews or papers from other conservators who've worked on similar things, or even things by the Kienholzes. There's kind of interviews where they say that they like the varnish that they put on in it yellowing, which is traditionally seen as a bad thing in a varnish. So we have to kind of look at what the artists want or wanted, and try and come up with a treatment that caters to that and still allows the artwork to be displayed.